Hello, folks, and welcome to the MCU'S Bleeding Edge Report. We are no longer episodical. We are now only in the time count dimension, episodical, on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. According to Andres, the pop culture guy, who is my wonderful special guest co-host on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge Report. So we're not doing any more episodes, right? Only when Cyber goes to the massage parlor. Four hands, nothing, baby. Anyways, folks, what's up? What's going on? What's going on, Andres?
Very good. Very excited to talk about this.
Let's get it. Daryl Dixon, fucking episode 2, bitch. Let's do it, folks. We got a good show. Not much bullshit, not much, fucking playing around here. We got a lot to fucking get done. We're already late. We appreciate all of you and whatnot. We support the fuck out of everybody. You supports us and whatnot and everything. I'm out kicking it in some swanky ass, rich and famous hotel and whatnot, everything. While Andres is living in the time cup dimension, hanging out with Frank Deuce. Right. So there you go. It's that simple. Andres, what else do we do? Are we actually doing episode 3 of Loki season 1, brother? Rewatch, re-review?
Yep. The Lamentis. That's what it's called.
Yeah, Lamentis. And now, you tell me. I never looked at your channel before, or because folks, of course, Andres the Pop Culture Guy is an individual content creator. We'll plug all his shit soon. But what did you think of Lamentis when it came out? And we're gonna do our Daryl Dixon episode 2 review first. And then we're gonna bust off episode 3 from season 1. Heading into what? Less than 2 weeks before what, Andres? Loki season 2?
Yep. October 6th. Friday.
So what were your thoughts? You and your co-host, people you talked to back then of Lamentis, because I remember when we reviewed it originally, I think it was probably the most disappointing episode of the series.
Yeah. I think this time around I actually enjoyed the episode 3 more. I think it's because I really knew that that episode was going to be more the Loki getting to know the other Sylvie, Loki variant, and so I think so. Watching it back, I thought I actually appreciated it more because you got to know more Sylvie as a character and how different she is than to our the 2012 version of Loki. At that time, so I think those work. I think it's actually one of the best filler episodes in terms of all the Disney Plus shows, because my problem with the Disney Plus shows is that filler episodes it just never really amount to anything important to the seasons overall. I think you don't really need the whole Manor Drop city thing in Falcon with the Soldier or Moon Knight. You don't really need what else? I'm trying to think about what it's unnecessary. Going to the desert and the cabins and all that. You don't need that in Moon Knight in episode 4, right? When Mark got killed by Ethan Hawke's character, or in Hawkeye, you don't really need episode 2 or something like that. I think this was one of the best filler episodes in terms of the Disney Plus shows.
Oh, folks, look, you know what? This actually is folks. Those of you who support the MCU'S know I am a Tuscan translator in training. I go to Phoenix University, take classes to represent the Sand people because of inclusivity and diversity, right? Purposes, we believe in it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck slavery. What about the Sand people, bitch? You know what I'm saying? Tuscans, baby, they're hurting, right? Andres, come on now. This is their language right here. This is what it's like speaking Tuscan. This is their language, mixed with English, right here. And is this how language is actually written in year 2027 or 2077 in the time count dimension, Andres?
Nope. She's the Facebook user is telling us that he is entering on a marriage apparently, and
wait a minute, love marriage.
Yeah,
Andres, it's a marriage proposal.
It's a number 2 love marriage apparently. If you look at the Black Magic, number 1.
We love you too. I don't think Andres right. I don't think either Andres or I want to marry you, whoever the fuck you are. So
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow, not today. You got wife problem? Well, you know what? Serve her up to me real quick for a night. I'll fucking straighten that out. Anyways, folks, no. So basically, long story short, Andres, you would you say that right before we get into Daryl Dixon, that the whole concept of it being difficult, of kind of sort of hard to do the ranking shows and whatnot sometimes when it comes to the MCU and stuff and whatnot, as we get back into that again, as we've swung around all over the place, it's tough to go back and rewatch this stuff and whatnot, because you realize people ask me about if I can do a top 3 MCU films or something like that, or what I'm saying, or how I can. It's hard to do the ranking stuff because we've talked about this before. My opinions change when I rewatch this stuff or look back at it over time. Don't yours?
Somewhat. I think it depends on which franchise you like. For like the MCU, I'm like, because we haven't yet. It's just kind of like with the MCU, you have to wait for the phases, like Phase 5, to add on the the Phase 5 Disney Plus shows. It was something like Mission Impossible. Like, I know what's my number 1 through 5. So, and then the bottom is like interchangeable. I'll switch which one is like the worst. So, but everyone has different opinions on like how you rank your MCU ranking. Like, for me,
let me ask you one last question though. Think about it from my context. You've done what? How many episodical review series with us now? Without how many? We're doing Ahsoka, right? We did Dead City, right? We did the DC animated stuff. What else have we done?
So if you want accurate, for
Evasion.
Hold on.
That's 4.
Let me go to my first channel.
Because I'm just saying, because that we started with WandaVision, right, folks? That we did, Cyber and I and our third co-host Perry Ramsey, we started the MCU's Bleeding Edge with WandaVision. And ever since then, we've done episodical reviews of the Disney Plus Marvel stuff and whatnot. We've always done every single one of them. You can find them on podcast form. You can find them, obviously on any of the platforms that we're on. Rumble, what's up? Twitch, what's up? YouTube, what's up? We love you. Our supporters on X, Twitter, whatever, fuck Periscope, whatever it is, and all the other platforms we're on. But either way, we've been doing these over and over and over again. Then you throw in Last of Us, right? House of the Dragon, right? Andor, Boba Fett. We've been doing TV episode review series over and over and over again. So my point is this though. You think about that context, the difference, right? Like, between how I feel about like maybe how I view things versus yours in a way, just because you sort of almost like it starts to become difficult because it gets layered. Does that make sense? Well, and you kind of like, and also you ever feel like you get a little bit too hypercritical when you're reviewing?
No. I mean, that's the point of the job. Like,
but that's the thing. That's my point, though, is that I feel like in my spot, and I'll let you go. I feel like at times, like that's where you end up. It's one of the rubs is that you look back and you're like, you know what? I want to be so fair and yet be critical that it's tough sometimes because you can be a little hard on some certain stuff, and things change, right? But no, from your lens and whatnot and everything, sir, have you enjoyed doing all the episode reviews and whatnot? Was my last question. Have you enjoyed it? Has it been fun?
Yeah, sure. Somewhat. It depends. Well, I mean, I think it's just, excited that I got back to The Walking Dead, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so far good, Like, the only misfire was, like, Secret Invasion. So,
I know. Yeah.
The worst one. So, but
that seems to be pretty much universal appeal on YouTube, so. But anyways, folks, so Daryl Dixon, Alouette, right? Now we already did Dead City. We're going to be doing all the other, the Walking Dead spinoff stuff. If there's any TV specials, we'll review them, of course, whatnot, and everything. But Alouette comes off of episode 1. What'd you think, Andres? Did you? I thought they did a better job handling flashbacks right there in this first episode than they did in the whole Dead City series.
Yes, pretty cool. I mean, I agree. I thought episode 2 was awesome. It was definitely better than episode 1 because it gave us a really cool expansion on the universe. It gave us a background on, our our character Isabel, you know, and her background, and like it gave us a cool twist that we were not expecting. Like not only you understand the importance of the kid, it also makes sense like why Isabel is like so protective of him, and so like there's emotional connection to that, which is great. That's something that I think with Dead City it was kind of like I think with Dead City compared to this show you don't really need to watch the original show. Like I I think you can start the show on your own. Like the show you know catches up with Daryl, you know, where um Dead City you can't. Like we have to have seen I think the recent seasons of Walking Dead to understand the Maggie and Negan stuff, and then the whole the son, and then the Korak villain, and it's like and then of course the show was kind of obvious to setting up their next season.
Maybe that. Well, did you think about it? Did you think that maybe that was the whole point? Was that that because we talked about this in episode 1, right?
Yeah.
That why did they do Dead City first and then Daryl Dixon second? Did you think at all about maybe the perspective that maybe possibly they wanted that connectivity to The Walking Dead, and they thought that the Dixon series being so more like disconnected from it might be better to like follow up? Because I thought about that during the episode.
Not really. I mean, you have to understand. It just depends on the production and the release date. Like for me,
No, but I mean, but they was planning on this though. They knew which order they wanted these series to come out. Think about how many years they said they were going to. 3 years ago they said they were going to do this, right? They had timelines, right? So, you know what I'm saying. So my point is, they did plan this. There's no way around it. At that point, do you think it makes sense that they would have done it to maybe have that kind of tissue, a la MCU style, like to the Walking Dead, to where right off the bat you're giving the fan, like the hardcore fans of whatever seasons they watched, something that's connected right from jump, where you've got multiple characters more than one. That you know what I'm saying?
Sort of. I don't know. Like, I mean, first off, like the Walking Dead franchise, this is not their first time doing spin-offs. So, like,
That's true. That's true.
You know,
you're right.
So let's be kind of honest here. It's like this is like the latest of their spin-off show, but this is the first time they're trying to spin off the original characters out of the original show. Like that's like a new thing because previously they were trying like all the spin-off shows, the Fear, the Tales, and then the World Beyond were like separate like continents of different characters, with minor connections. Like Fear has Morgan that connects to the original show, So, but here I think it makes sense to start with, Dead City, I guess, because we had two of our well-known characters, makes sense. But also like, I mean, it's for business reasons that maybe the Dead City was like already fast track and it was like easier to produce, where like Daryl is like you're sitting in Paris. It's like you had
AMC. Well, that's the thing too. You have to remember this isn't Disney. This is AMC. So they don't have the money that Disney has, right? They don't.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't. I mean, I'm not saying Disney's doing so hot financially, because they're not. But like and that's not complicated. The fucking stock value lost half its value last year, if I remember correctly. I mean, that's not good. But overall, though, like I mean, it'd be interesting. I'm gonna look up in a minute. Let me see if I can pull up the budget really quick and whatnot for what this, if they even have it announced, which they don't. No, that won't come out until later. We don't know how much this costs. What do you think this costs? So, I mean, what do you think the Dead City cost for 6 episodes? If you had to guess,
I don't know.
What do you think Negan gets paid for 6 episodes? And what do you think that fucking Maggie gets paid? Those those 2 actors and actresses.
It's usually around 20 or 50, around there, in terms of TV.
Think that much?
Yeah, like that's how you usually pay, like for the actors in terms of television series that I know. But I don't know the accurate numbers for the Walking Dead actors' salary, but it should be around there, the 20 or 50s range.
No, things have changed since back in the day when we used to know this stuff. Remember, don't know if people pay attention to that, but back in the day, Andres, remember that was kind of like common speak. You would hear about it in like the media, whatnot, and like you read about it in the paper, whatnot, how much money certain actresses made for certain films and whatnot. They keep that tight nowadays, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I
Well,
had to guess, I'd say probably Dead City, probably the whole production to produce the whole thing, probably must have cost them at least probably for those 6 episodes, at least probably I maybe 100 million, probably more around like 75, $80 million, if I had to guess. And that's about what I think it would be. Maybe less than that, maybe more like closer to 60, but I'm not sure. But it's interesting, folks out there, and like obviously, like feel free to jump in the comment section if you have any estimation on that. And let us know what you think. Roughly would be. I'm not even sure if I remember correctly, even knowing what any of the budgets were for any of the Walking Dead seasons. To be honest with you, but either way, Andres,
well, so
go ahead.
for per episode for a season with The Walking Dead was the original was like 2.4 billion per episode, and it roughly ran around for $56 billion while they were shooting.
This is the
So
first season of Walking Dead.
entirely the show, and then okay, so and then okay, because I'm looking at my notes right now. So apparently, because Dead City was
Tell me,
shooting in New
tell
Jersey
me
Film Commission.
where I can pull
And
this up, and I'll pull it up.
okay, here. So
And I'll just go ahead and get into. I'll go ahead and just lay out a little bit of episode like 2 and whatnot, kind of where we're at and whatnot. While you do that, if you want to pull that up real quick and whatnot, if you could pull that up for me, whatnot, so I can actually pull it up and show it and display it. We can break it down. But basically, we're coming off of episode 1. Go ahead, Andre. I'm sorry.
yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the budget. Like I just want to talk
All
about
right,
the episode.
let's move on to the episode then. That's fine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Andre, did you? I really like the flashbacks. Like I said, what did you think? I mean, did you think that the flashbacks were better? That they
Yeah,
started off
I say
that they were handled kind of better, at least at first.
yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the flashbacks were really great. Well, see, I think this is what made Fear the Walking Dead kind of like very annoying when it first started. I like how this episode showed you like how the outbreak happened, and so I like
Yes.
how we saw the beginning of the dead rises. That was really cool, and especially like in a different continent, that was kind of neat. Because you don't see. I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Like, I think what World War C, the Brad Pitt movie with the zombies back in 2013. Like, besides that, like you didn't. Like, I don't think you've seen zombies overseas. And
I read that book. The book is awesome.
I heard it's different from the movie. I know
Way
that.
different. Way different. The movie version was nowhere good, close to as good as the book. Honestly, I'm sad to say, but that's usually how it works, right? But
Yeah.
no. Did you think that they did a good job? I mean, that's one of the things that we'll talk about with Loki episode 3, obviously too, with Sylvie. But did you think they did a good job in terms of sort of like you already mentioned, having Isabel sort of finally like have filling in her character and kind of solidifying her in the series so that we have a good firm grasp of kind of like who we're going to be working with in terms of these main characters, right? Like where we're going to be going with that. Do you feel like they did a good job of flushing that out and also at the same time involving Daryl also into like, the scheme of things and whatnot while kind of like balancing it out?
Yeah, I agree. I think this episode too. Well, I like because it was a good contrast of like the present Isabel to the past. So that was really neat, and I think you can like I really like how efficient and well paced the flashbacks were to like inform you who Isabel was, and like her sister, and who she was previously before she became a nun. A super nun, if we have to say that. With her badass,
Like
guns
that fucking scene from episode 1 with the nuns took on the fucking the gang there and everything. Oh my god, man.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so yeah, exactly. Super nuns. Yeah, and so like it's cool that we like got an origin story of her, how she met the nuns. That was cool. It was neat to meet her friend. What was it? Let me look at my notes. What's her friend's? see, it's like when is it
Are you talking about? Are
Sylvie?
you talking about Lily?
No, Sylvie. That's her. That's the friend's name, Sylvie. Full name. So
Oh,
Sylvie.
okay. No, oh, that's right. Lily's the one is the one that gives birth and whatnot, and
Yeah,
and
that's
all
her
that.
sister. That's her
Yeah.
sister. So like we got Sylvie. It was kind of neat to see Sylvie as a young kid towards the end of the episode.
Oh
And
yes. Oh yeah, the one that was sort of like palled up with Daryl basically and whatnot. And but
yeah,
well, definitely.
yeah. So that was kind of neat. So it was really cool. We got like an origin story with um of of Isabel, and it was great because she wasn't a perfect person. She was a thief, and it was kind of neat that they didn't beat you with the head. That she was like a thief, and like they could have gone very preachy, but luckily they didn't went with that. Like she was very straightforward. Like she was doing that for a living, and she did care. Like for people like the kid outside that sadly had to tell her that her dad didn't call, and the mom was crying. So like during this like the early stages of outbreak was kind of like, oh my god, that's crazy. So
Now, real quick, Andres, Sylvie, of course, is I believe you pronounce it Leica blank
yeah,
front cards, that's her name. And then of course we've got Clemence, I believe it's Posey that plays Isabel. I know a little bit of French from I had took a French in high school. And then of course Quinn is Adam, I believe it's Negated.
yep,
So that's sort of like I guess what you could call our main characters along with Daryl, right?
yeah,
Um, and of course, we also know that essentially, I'm sure you already know Andres and folks out there that Scott Gimple's back. You got Kirkman back. Caroline Hurd is back, right? It's all the same people from Walking Dead are in here. Just like in Dead City,
yeah,
they're all like producing the series, whatnot, and everything, right? Greg Nicotero's back. That whole squad.
yep.
But Andres, did you feel like again, sort of in terms of episode 1 was great, right? We both loved it, folks. I'm sure you probably really enjoyed it. I know I've been bragging it up about to everybody and whatnot. Um, what have you heard? Have you heard anything on the street as far as a buzz? Have you heard any reaction from people you talked to and not everything about what they thought of the first episode? Are they happy? I know I talked to people who were excited about it. I was. Well, you were.
Yeah. Um. Not really. I unfortunately don't have friends that watch the show. I knew one kid from my high school that was kind of a fan of this, but yeah, so far been positive. I think with the show. I mean, right now, I saw an article that this show is the second freshest in Rotten Tomato for a Walking Dead show, after simultaneously with Dead City with 80%, which is hasn't been like that since I think season 4 of the original Walking Dead.
Mhm.
Uh, so that's neat because the series has been mixed, reviews, but it hasn't been like rotten. It's always been leaning to like the 70s and 60s with every season since 5, or like at like around season 6 started. But yeah, which is good. I think the show. I think the smaller episode count is good. I think with the familiar characters and the storylines much clearer and like more invested, it's been working for them compared to the other shows. So I think they're in the right. Like I think they're having a good um like set of shows with these like iconic characters that they're spawning off, which is good.
Most definitely. And just to really, this is from Wikipedia, folks, right? Of course. Now, essentially, I believe the episode is Alouette. The title of the
Yeah,
episode 2 is Alouette. Basically, the synopsis of this is basically Isabel, enlisted drug user and thief, escapes from Paris during the initial outbreak with her boyfriend Quinn and her pregnant sister Lily before abandoning Quinn. Lily dies and gives birth as a walker to Laurent at the Abbey via emergency C-section. In the present, the group loses their mute and are captured by a group of children who've been living in their old preschool with their dying teacher, Madame Dubois. Laurent makes friends with the other children who tell him the nuns are lying to him. Needing a horse, Daryl offers to get medicine for Madame Dubois if Lou helps him raid a nearby castle owned by a man dubbed La Tarasque. Inside, Daryl confronts the man who is revealed to be an American, as Andres mentioned earlier, from Texas, named RJ Gaines, who I like immediately was like, I know this dude was bad, and rescues a boy that Gaines has captured. Gaines falls into his own walker moat and is devoured, which is dope as shit, while the kids rescue Daryl. Meanwhile, Madame Dubois has died, and Daryl encourages Lou to step up as their leader. Daryl and the others leave, but Laurent expresses frustration over the secrets kept from him. Kadrama returns to the Abbey, where he finds Daryl's recorded message, a picture of Laurent, and a map of the group's route to Paris. Andres, bouncing off episode 1, sort of, because folks, we want to like keep these reviews pretty loose here. The Bleeding Edge Report. We don't want to do anything like scene to scene. We just want to kind of like get through this episode and get into episode 3 of season 1 of Loki. Andres, did you feel like the momentum carried over well from episode 1 to episode 2?
Yeah, it did.
The pace is good. You liked it?
Yeah. I mean, remember, like, we know what we're gonna do, so I thought this episode did the right thing. But they were very creative about this episode, which was good. Like, they did a good job of jam-packing storylines, and everything felt like, like it got payoff, and I like where we're going at, which is good. Which I think that was something that was a problem with Dead City. It's like they set up certain things, and then they didn't pay off. And I think a very satisfying way. Like, I was surprised that we got Maggie's son, like, in the first season. And then next season, we're doing this other thing. It's like, okay. So I hope we don't do something that's kind of, like, crazy. Because we know that this show is also renewed. So I'm kind of curious where we're going to head. Like, if Daryl's going to stay with Paris or not, But we'll see.
Well, now that would be like the timing, like the planning of the story across the writers across the span of 6 episodes, right? It boils down to timing and sort of how you go about it and how you flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You throughout production, that, and so that was very critical in Secret Invasion, right? Just like in Dead City, just to kind of like bring in a little MCU in here, folks, as we are doing some Loki episode, rewatch later. What do you think, Andres? Essentially, the timing for me with Dead City, like you said, was sort of off. Like, I mean, it didn't have. Again, maybe I'll change my mind later on. I know you really liked it and whatnot, and I respect that and whatnot. I think it was okay too. But so far, at least, unless something like falls off a cliff, I really feel like the series through episodes, right? At least through episode 2, unless something really, really falls off. Do you see that happening in this series, like Dead City kind of did with episode 5? How we talked about how that sort of they're trying to almost like season 2 is coming, kind of come.
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, like, it happens with a lot of shows. Like, there's a certain like episode where when we get to before the season finale, like there's gonna be a drop off. So it could happen. We'll see. Either 4 or 5. I think you can tell. Like, okay, like they're like pausing for this and that. So we'll see. It could happen. But I'm curious how big it'll drop, because like at least with Dead City, it was like one drop. It was one episode. That's impressive, because with the Disney Plus shows, like if we were to go to the MCU for a minute, like for me, it's always either 2 or 3 episode drop in terms of quality, and that's not good. With Secret Invasion, they dropped the ball 2 times in a row, and that's not good. Or like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I feel like they dropped the ball 2 times. That was in episode 4 and then 6. I feel like that didn't work. Or like Hawkeye, it was like episode 5 and 2. Like they kind of dropped off the ball there, and then like only Loki. I feel like Loki only dropped the ball like just one, which is good. So
let me give you one last question, sort of in contrast of we'll focus on the episode directly, but in contrast to Dead City, one last question.
sure.
Do you feel like now they, as you said, they already announced season 2 of Daryl Dixon. We already know that, right? So the question, of course, was last week was why? Why, right? I mean, why would you do episode 5 like that in Dead City? Do you feel like potentially maybe that at all that you see any sense at all, right now, based off of the vibe that you felt off Dead City after 2 episodes and where things are at with Daryl Dixon after 2 episodes? Do you really how highly do you see it happening that this series is not going to pay off overall compared to Dead City? You see episode 5 dropping off like that and whatnot, like with that having changed, gone ahead and put out, we're doing season 2. Wouldn't you expect at that point there to be more fluidity, more cohesion across the span of the series? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to break out. I think we need to see what they're gonna do, like, because right now we got the kid, which I think that's gonna be a important storyline for him to discover what is his purpose. Like, 'cause it doesn't seem like he didn't know about his mom, being affected as a zombie, and like first off, like if you haven't seen a zombie movie with a kid, like a friend, like Dawn of the Dead, the remake from 2004, like he should have been a zombie baby when his mom was affected.
You're
But
talking about
didn't.
Laurent, the kid is relent. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. The rent, like, should have been a zombie kid, a zombie baby. But the fact he wasn't a zombie after they took the baby out of from the mom is like kind of critical. So that's probably why they think he's special because of that.
I can't remember. Did you watch Last of Us? Did you get any Last of Us vibes? I got hardcore Last of Us vibes.
I know the Last of Us. With the kid, like it.
Yeah, man. Did you not get hardcore Last of Us vibes in this episode? I did hardcore.
Yeah, it's very convenient, but yeah, I mean,
right?
You're gonna see that in every apocalypse story. Like, besides,
wow, this felt like almost like I was like, wow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like this. I mean, it just I guess maybe because this happened so quickly in between series, right? It just like it seemed very familiar to me. Did you all feel that nature like about it, like The Last of Us?
You've seen The Last of Us. I haven't, but the story.
Oh, you didn't see it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I haven't seen The Last of Us, but I heard the video games. But this is not a new storytelling. That's always been a thing in apocalypse stories. Like in like in the sequel to 28 Days Later, 28 weeks later, there's a kid that has like a special gene where he can actually carry the rage virus that turns the humans into infected. That's just the term for zombies in that movie version. And so, and so he didn't turn. He can carry the rage virus. So, like, it's a very common thing where like we get this special kid that's kind of immune to the virus, or the zombie virus, if you want to call it. So I do wonder if they're gonna take him. And I mean, we know from the last episode that it's gonna be like a what do you call it? Oh my god, wrong. At least this is a shiny. I like. Oh my god, the TV show. Like, I don't know if you've seen the TV miniseries. I'm so surprised you haven't used the image of that dorky kid from that like miniseries from 1997. Oh my god, his voice was so annoying. He's like, "Dad."
Do you mean young Frank Dukes? What's up, Matthew? You Aussie bitch. Matthew's coming back. He just folks Matthew from Australia from Born to Watch podcast just hit me up the other day and let me know. He's back in the game, baby. He's going to be coming on the guest here soon, so he might jump in on Ahsoka, hopefully, at some point soon, which we'll be doing, of course, tomorrow night. Well,
yes.
Yep, tomorrow night, episode 5. You excited, Andres?
Hey, I'm excited for episode 5 because it was very good. So, anyway, that's tomorrow, but yeah, very good.
I know. No.
Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, so like the idea of this kid being special and like being immune to be this virus is kind of like a traditional thing in apocalypse stories slash zombies. So it's not
Okay.
surprising. But I
Okay.
was surprised. So here's the thing. This is where the episode was very good. Was the twist. I like that it was. This is actually Isabel's grandson, and like he's this important, like not only important, but it's also a personal thing for her to like keep this kid safe and go to this like location, you know? So like it makes a lot of sense with her as a person. And I really like that, and that's something I didn't expect to see that this is the came from the sister and all that. So and plus the boyfriend that we saw, I checked in Wikipedia. I think we're gonna see him again in this series because the fact that we didn't get his fate yet, I think he could be another major player in the story. I just checked the Dixon Wikipedia, and he listed in the cast, like the main cast, and apparently he's like owning like an underground nightclub called the Demeter, who has become more popular after the zombie apocalypse. So that's interesting. So that he could be another major antagonist for the show, maybe. Because the way Isabel left him was kind of like, okay, I need to protect my sister, and I get it. So, because that guy was very, like, mission oriented, like, he didn't care about the sister and all that. So, so he was just
No,
very,
no, without question, no, and of course, folks. Basically, I mean, Isabel does start off as kind of like a, she is basically being almost like not pimped out, but like mistreated by this, by this guy. And what'd you think, Andres? I mean, I felt like basically, or are you surprised at all? The length of the episode, I believe, was almost an hour and 2 minutes long with the credits.
uh, no, I think it's been like that for all the Walking Dead shows. Like, that's a good hour for an episode for me because you can tell more of your story, you know? I think, um, I think for shows they start to like for these type of formats, the episode starts to shorten, but but that's a good thing because then they're a little more streamlined and they're focusing on one thing. So we'll see how that goes if they gonna get shorter, because that's what happened with Walking Dead. That's it. It's like the episode starts long, then almost like towards the end, it's like each episode will be shorter. That's been a common theme with like the 10 or 6 episode run. Miniseries.
Most definitely. And so what do you think? I mean, you are in terms of sort of who the overarching, I mean, I guess villain would be. Like, do you see that do you see this series kind of playing out you know, with a basic, premise where we've already basically understand kind of who the villain is
Yes.
and
Well, we have two.
like the theme, do you feel like that's already been concrete, like been concretely set, or do you feel
Yeah.
like like there's more to come?
Yeah. I think that's completely set. This is different from Death City, 100%. Like last episode, they tell us there's two antagonists from the evil group called the what's it the cons. So we got the general in the boat. She's going to be a overall uh like arcing villain for the series. And then the personal antagonist for Daryl the Face is the Queen, the 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 French soldier that
Yeah,
supposedly Daryl killed a brother. He's going to be the antagonist we see every episode. Like the fact that we saw him towards the end of episode two.
Quinn. Yeah, Adam. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like we're very clear on the antagonist. Plus, the good thing about this show, they're doing a good job of having like the side villains that we had to deal in this episode. Like the Texas person, he was like our main bad guy for this episode. Was very good. Like he was minor, which is great. With Dixon had to help the kids to get the medicine and all that. Like he was a good minor villain. So I think the show is in the right track how to use villains compared to Dead City, because that was the problem. Like you got the car wreck, and then all of a sudden we got this lady that was going to be the like arcing villain for their series, and like I thought that the car wreck was going to be the main villain. So it was weird that we have to transition to this main villain that we were thinking he was the main villain, but now he's working with this other villain, just like he did with Negan. So it was like,
and that's sort of where that's when they dropped her in episode 5, and I'll pull her up right now.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
that's where they things got kind of complicated, right? Was where episode 5
yeah,
is where things got fucked up.
yeah. So like, if we see the general woman from the boat, like it's not going to be a surprise. We saw her in episode 1. She is looking for Daryl, but she's not going to be the main focus for this season. So like, she will be our like arcing villain. So like, at least they're ahead of their like storylines they're gonna do in this series. So that's good. So they're heads above the Dead City story like skills, which is good. Which I like.
No, it definitely
So,
is. I like it too, most definitely. And essentially, well, we came off of episode 1, right? We were at the Abbey and whatnot, and everything. We had that great scene, the fight scene, right?
yeah,
That was like literally like I promise, Andres and folks, for episode 3, I'll try to see if I can rip a little clip of that fight scene, or whatever you want to call it, that Walking Dead-esque scene or whatever, whatnot. I love it when they go human to human, right?
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, like the old school Walking Dead seasons, and whatnot, when they would run through the walkers and shit, like in the prison and whatnot and everything. That shit was dope. When Rick fucking killed that one snake fucking dude, that rat dude with the ponytail, or whatever, whatnot, right? Like that shit was awesome. T Dog, man, or what was his name? Was it T
T-Dog.
Bone or T Dog? Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a good character, man. Right?
yeah.
Like he should be an OG Walking Deader.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think that it's people like him. Like he's actually a good person. I heard in the conventions and stuff. Yeah, his character I really like. I was very shocked that he died early, season 3.
And
Like
again, Andres, I'm glad you mentioned that. And we're going to get off of this. We'll go ahead and do our ratings here in a minute and jump on Loki episode 3 from season
yeah,
1. But I mean, honestly, that was the thing, wasn't it? I kind of forgotten about that in a way, Andres, until just now. Believe it or not, when you just talked to mention that with T Dog, that was the
yeah,
thing about The Walking Dead, was that they killed people off, right? Like just bam, 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 bam. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like all of a sudden people were just dying, right? Like, and most series, there's not many series out there that are willing to do things like that and just like kill
no,
characters off like that and whatnot, and just be able to expect to have people come in, fill in, other actors and actresses step in and play other roles and be able to continue that that continuity or whatever, right, across the span of seasons over and over again, as they did
yeah,
there for a while and whatnot. They did a really good job with that over there. You have to
yeah,
give them credit.
yeah. Well, and also like what made it popular is because like it was very different from the comic series because some of the character deaths were different from the show. Like I think Sophie survived in the original comic book. She didn't die early like she did in season 2.
You're
The
right.
kid,
You're right.
Daryl's kid, where
Didn't Andrea not die too?
no, she is very long term character.
That's
But
what I'm
in the
saying.
show,
I
yeah, in
loved
the show,
Andrea. Now, why couldn't they gave Andrea a fucking spinoff?
I hey, you're the only person that like her.
What? What are you talking about?
I I mean, like I'm surprised
I
you
loved
don't.
Andrea. What's wrong with Andrea?
Hey,
She's the mom in fucking what do you call it? That stupid fucking what's it called? Alien movie and whatnot. What do you Mac and Me or whatever? She's the mom in that shit.
oh my god, don't tell me that. You
Mac and
know,
Me with they're in the dolls and they're dancing and shit and everything. Whatnot.
I know what you're talking
And
about.
Max in the bear suit.
I'm surprised you don't recognize her because she's in the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, that's right. She is too.
She's Dan Grant's wife, who literally divorced him because he's different. It's like, really? And she's in The Mist. That's how she joined The Walking Dead because that was a Frank Darabont film. That also has the other Walking Dead actor who was like, he played Hanson or one of the like wise characters. I'm like, but yeah, like she was okay. I mean, I don't know, like some reason she played characters I don't like the one in the Fantastic Four movie, and then Andrea was so like she's like I heard she's not like the comics, so that's why they kill her off early, and her death was so like I don't care about her death. It's like you did you see the Talking Dead like
Yeah,
like
I
after,
used to watch. I used to watch it. Yeah,
yeah, it was funny.
I thought
Like
it was great. I thought it was really. I thought it was really, really interesting. It was a different wrinkle than no one had ever done. Anyone had ever done before. To have a post show, right? Like I'd never really seen anything like that ever happen before. Had you?
I don't know, it's been here and there, but it was more popular when AMC started doing that. I think. But yeah, but no. I so during the Talking Dead, I think they did like a ceremony for this character, and I was like what? Like it was even that episode or talk show where there was like an end like credit scene or like it was like a tagline about like love or something like that. It was so like just like come on, like just forget it. She's dead. That's it. Like we never make a big deal of like the character's death like in a very like ceremonious way towards the end of your episode. Like I never seen that. It's weird.
So basically, what would you say?
Yeah,
Final wrap
yeah.
up on episode 2. Okay, I guess two more questions, right? And then we'll rate and we'll move on. First question. All right, now overall, overarchingly, the episode is basically one that centers around. It's contextual, right? Essentially, right? To some extent. Well, it's also trying to propel the rest of the story forward.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
yeah,
That's sort
yeah.
of the
I
point of the
agree.
episode, isn't it?
Yeah, and it did it well, like which is good. I already shocked. I was very shocked that they handled both, which it's something that shows don't do like well. So I was very shocked about this episode too. So
Now, um, would you say at all? Let me have one more, just off that real quick. Would you say that in terms of comparing again, I guess the Dead City, right? Would you say that basically, with Dixon episode 2,
mhm.
they did a better job maybe of pushing the story forward while also sort of like dividing things up a little bit, you know what I'm saying, whatnot, and like using their flashbacks and and kind of like trying to handle their context. That they just did a better job so far with this one.
um, I don't like comparing to this to Dead City. I think they're two different shows, but
That's true.
but at the same time, it's like I think this was better than episode 2 of Dead City by far because like it actually got things done. And, like,
That, there you go.
like I don't remember what was episode 2 about. I need to check. But like it
I can't remember
like
either. What even fucking? I know. You know what? I do remember. It was when he basically they're like hanging out with the whole New York crew, like yep,
mm,
the that whole deal, whatnot, and everything, and then
yeah.
Negan has to kill what's his name there at the end of the episode and shit, whatnot, and everything. Remember?
Yeah. Or that was like in episode 3. He had to kill.
Oh, that's
That
right. It was.
yeah,
What the hell even did
episode
happen
2.
in episode 2? Maybe that was the episode where somehow that fucking mute girl, whatever, they somehow managed to walk through your city with all them walkers and shit, even though she can't defend herself, and like
Yeah.
somehow become unscathed and whatnot, and everything, and find her way to New York from like what, like Alaska?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Negan and
So
shit, whatnot.
she so like they met yeah, well, I mean and she was not mute too. Like she was being
That's when they first started dropping the flashbacks of Negan with her, and
yeah.
like trying to show like like how he
But
like changed through her.
yeah. What's that they did that in episode 5. You remember? They did it in episode 5. Or 4, right? When she arrived.
No, too.
2? No.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to go back and get my Dead City review? I am right here. This is the notebook. This is our Walking Dead notebook, folks. Very professional here.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. You know what? Episode 3, they had the flashback. I'm sorry. So episode 3. Because episode 4, they show a flashback of Negan and Simon, the other member from the original um Walking Dead series, confronting about what the car wreck did. from previously
You
seen.
could be correct. You could be right. You could be right. I can't remember, to be completely honest with you, if it was episode 2 or episode 3, but it was somewhere around there. But I mean,
Yeah, no.
they did several flashbacks.
Yeah,
All right. Last question. What episode do we get Carol? Or do we even get Carol? Does Carol come back in season 2?
I
Just
mean,
give a guess.
I mean, we saw her in that one clip this season, so I don't expect. Actually, if she decides to look for Daryl, then yeah, like that could be a good addition for next season to have her be another.
You like, because you don't remember that she's already locked in. They already said that she's going to be in the series.
Hold on. Let me.
They have. She's going to show up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
We just don't know when.
Yeah, but in some capacity, they say. Apparently, like, well, it doesn't mean like a big role for this season. So I don't know. So I mean, like we got that one cameo from last episode, episode 1. So like it'll probably be in flashbacks or like a vision, like for him to remember like
Let me do some research for episode 3 and make sure that I have a source that's good on this and whatnot and everything. Because I remember reading this from several sources and whatnot and everything. I just haven't, I right in front of me, and I'm not going to press it. But
yeah.
you think it would be a smart move to slip Carol into season 2?
Yeah, I say that probably be the next logical choice for the series if they get her back to do like a regular role like the Ritual series. If they do, that's good because I think that'll be a good way to like connect more of the original series, with Carol here. 'Cause that was like the original idea of the spin-off before it became just a Daryl show. So, and it makes sense that Carol wants to look and find Daryl, because like what happened, and all that stuff. If we're keeping Daryl in the like Paris, because we don't know if they're gonna move around Daryl in the countries or something like that. We'll see. So, but yeah, but I hope we see her again, like face to face. But I don't think we're not gonna get it for.
He got his horse, baby.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and the kids. I actually like the kids here. They were good, and that's the one thing. In Dead City, the people the Maggie and Negan were with, they were so flower like they were like victims for the zombies to kill. Like for the version of the series, you knew that because the ball guy and the girl die in episode 5 so like so harmoniously, and like I didn't care. Here it's funny that we got the kids here and they were only in this one episode and they were way more interesting than those people in the Dead City. So like right away this show is way better than Dead City.
Not a lot of walkers in this episode.
No, but at least it was like I think they did a good job of keeping it interesting. And like in terms of the universe. Because like it's like how much like zombies you gonna do. And I like we didn't see too much zombies in the flashbacks too. So that was neat.
That's a good point. I'm glad you pointed that out. There aren't any really in the flashbacks at all.
Yeah.
You don't see it. Yeah, no, and I think that's probably another thing too that you look back at Walking Dead, and I don't know. I look back and think to myself, there was that flipping point where they started killing other humans more, right? And like that was interesting when that first happened. Remember, like that whole concept. I don't want to say it got played, but that was pretty cool. That duality in The Walking Dead, right? To see that, and I liked seeing that. I want to see more of that in Daryl. And I like to see that in all the spinoff series. I like to see a little bit of both. Would you agree?
Yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying something different. I gotta say, I think I'm enjoying this show because, like, at least the weapons have been creative.
Yeah, that the mace. Remember how that was?
Oh my god, that was a good way to use that. Like the characters are being smart with what they're doing with their weapons than whatever Dead City was, or like what the previous shows are doing. It's just like very efficient.
It's kind of what you'd almost expect from like an ancient, French city. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, in a way, they have like medieval weapons and shit, whatnot, almost in a way. So it seems like. But all right, Andre. So put you in the hot spot, folks. Wrapping this episode 2 up. I'm gonna drop easily a 9 on this one.
Okay. Yeah,
What you got?
I'm the same goal here. 9 out of 10.
All right, there you go, baby. That's 18. No. That's always good.
Actually, I'll change it. I will give it a 10 out of 10. See,
your first 10? Wait, did you already drop a 10 last week too?
No, I think I give it 9 out of 10.
Okay, I was about to say you better not. Don't be overusing your 10s, bitch. Because look, come on, Andres, you can't be 10 everything. You can't be 10 everything.
No. This is my rating. I can do whatever I want with my rating.
That's true.
10 out of 10. I think next show it was like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. I don't know.
I think mine was 8.5. We'll have to see.
So mine could be a 9 out of 10. So this episode is a 10 out of 10. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites.
Most definitely. And there you go, folks. And episode 3 I think will be really interesting. I mean, I'm definitely. I encourage people to watch this. It's entertaining. It's not superhero stuff. It's something different, right? Andres and I enjoyed it. And let's move on and go ahead. And I'm gonna drop a trailer real quick and whatnot. And give Andres and I a chance to kind of refresh ourselves and whatnot. We're gonna play a trailer for Loki season 1. Obviously not episode 3. But for the season 1, and then we'll go ahead and rock on and we'll finish up episode 3, do our rewatch re-review, and close this bitch out with some plugs, and call it a night. Let's do it, baby. If I can even find the shit. I'm just kidding. I got you. Don't worry about it, Andres. There we go.
All right.
I know what this place is. The timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
We protect the proper flow of time. You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality. I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki perspective.
Do I get a weapon?
Nah.
You really believe in this Loki variant?
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us.
Why? It is adorable that you think you could possibly manipulate me. I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
You're not big on trust, are you?
You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
Why never do it again?
All right, folks. There we go. Trailer's over. We cancel that bitch out. So Lamentis, Loki season 1 rewatch review. Andres.
Yep.
Now, you tell me, sir. Really good timing, right? Now we just talked about timing. We'll flip things over from episode 2 from Daryl Dixon, right? Talked about timing. Episode 3 we talked about in the studio a little bit. We kind of brushed into this a little bit already. you mentioned something that kind of made me think about that fact that they did a really good job, right, of sort of easing Sylvie in the way they did, right, and then kind of just building up that tension a little bit, like kind of like who what's going on here with her, to where they dropped her in the end of episode 2, right? You get a kind of a feel for her, and then in episode 3 we get our first real pairing of her with Loki, right? Sort of just doing their own thing and kind of like getting to know each other and feel each other out. While Loki's sort of figuring himself out, right? And like he's already taken a lot in, right? In terms of the fact that he knows he's a variant already, right? He's had to watch everything, all the horrible stuff he had to watch at the TVA. We're sort of in a spot where the story kind of carries away more from the secondary characters.
Yeah.
And reverts more right to Sylvie and Loki. And now to me, see, I enjoyed that. Well, I remember for a fact, I could pull it up right now, that I really liked it. I loved Lamentis. And I can remember that, people on the panel and not maybe, not thinking it was that great. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great episode, and it did actually fit in the series, because as we talked about before, would you not agree? You're going to have at least like one episode kind of in 6 or 8 episodes where there's going to be one that's not perfect, or it's going to be not maybe even exactly a filler, but at least like lightly contextual to the point where it's not that great.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the whole Sylvie Loki pairing. I think it was important because they're going to be important in the next 3 episodes moving forward. So, like, I think this episode was kind of necessary to do that, to develop that whole thing. And because, like, next episode, I think I remember episode 4, we get a flashback of Sylvie as a kid and whatnot. Or episode 5, I think, that they do a flashback or something like that. Because at this point with the first episodes, we knew that there was a rogue Loki variant attacking the TVA, and so like we got to see Sylvie towards the end, so it makes a logical sense in a storytelling perspective. If you folks enjoy that, like it makes sense for episode 3 to really expand Sylvie as a character and like what makes her tick, what's the difference between her and Loki. They did that so successfully. Plus, I like the way they said it, because you knew from last episode how Sylvie hide in the apocalypse. So it was kind of neat that we went to another apocalypse planet, just like the Rexon mole part, mole part, whatever you call it, department. And here we're in this like, doomed planet in the moon gonna crash it, which is neat. And the production value here is awesome. I love the costumes. I love the planet looks so purple, which is great. Like I like this. This is like a cosmic episode in Loki, so that's awesome.
I don't know if I would say cosmic. I'd say it more just because again, when I think cosmic, I think actual like space movie. Going into space and there being actual events occurring, like where you're traveling almost, right? This is more.
I mean, it could go that or differently. If you've seen like the movie Foreign Planet, like that's an old movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but like there's astronaut, like there's scientific sci-fi astronauts in this one planet for the whole movie, and like that's like a cosmic adventure. Like it can go either way, either space or the planet. Like so, like this was like a classic sci-fi adventure. That's my part of my saying. If I think cosmic is the one word, I say this is a good like sci-fi adventure, but isn't Loki as a superhero show,
No, most definitely, and I think that if you think about it, Michael Waldron, Kate Herron, obviously did a great job, right? In the series without question, and of course, we're not going to have Kate Herron back, unfortunately, for season 2.
Yeah.
Although she did a great job, right? Hats off to her, Kate. Wonderful job. Wonderful job with Loki season 1. I think everybody. I remember when we did our rankings. Everyone loved it. Everyone had it in their top 3. I think that year, pretty much. Like it was in their top 3 or 2, pretty much on the ranking shows when we did it that year, in terms of what came out Marvel wise. Do you think at all that now Waldron did some of the writing? right? Or did most of the writing actually? Did you know that?
Yeah, but it did the first 2 episodes. This one was written by Bishop KL. She's
Bishop Kelly, yes.
yeah, Bishop Kelly, who did the Miss Marvel show. This is her first episode.
That's right. That is and I like Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Right? That was my number one last year. That was my top pick last year, folks. I picked that out of all the Disney Plus series that came out. Was Miss Marvel. I thought it was the best one across episodically, in terms of the whole deal, the casting, the production, the finale, the intro. That first episode. The consistency, cinematography, all of it. I thought it was the best. That's just my personal opinion. At that point, you're right. That's a good point. I'm really glad you made that point. And essentially, there also, I believe Alyssa Koreski, that also did some story at, writing. She's a staff writer. But Bishop Kelly, right, and Waldron did, the directed the most of the writing. He did a great job. And what do you think about the dichotomy? The fact that basically they sort of, built up the whole concept of the TVA. They built up this variant of Loki deal. We get, this episode where we put Sylvie and Loki together. Then as we go into episodes 4 and 6, don't we sort of get everyone back in, right? We get their other characters, secondary characters back in the game.
Yeah. I mean,
to some extent, other than when we go in episode 5, where we go into the whole
Lokis,
the void.
Lokis. The void and the Lokis that we see. Yeah. I mean, we don't have the secondary characters here, so it's like the only. I think it was kind of shocking we saw Rainslayer again, and so that kind of like looking back now, it's kind of funny that like that should have been the one interesting that she was chasing after the timekeepers, and then Rainslayer was there, so it was kind of unique because she was the one that like it spoilers for the next episodes that like Rainslayer is the one that takes Sylvie when she was a young kid, so it's kind of funny to see that.
I'm gonna make a prediction right now. I'm telling you right now, the trailers are not conveying how important she's gonna end up being in season 2. She's gonna play a bigger role than people think. I believe. I really do. That's just my call.
I mean,
I'm telling you. I think they're because you remember Kang is going to be our nemesis. He's going to be our Thanos essentially, right?
Yeah.
If she's going to be his love interest in whatever way, I don't see that going away. I see that continuing. So I'm just saying at that point they're going to want to launch her off somewhere. Does that make sense? Would you disagree or do you agree?
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, the problem is like the MCU is kind of disarrayed right now because of what's going on with the actor strike, and so we really don't know what they're going to do with Rainslayer after Loki season 2, because we don't know if like Loki will get another season to be part of the multiverse saga. So I mean, if Kang will be in the new Fantastic Four movie, then Rainslayer could pop up there, but as it is right now, it's like kind of tough where like a lot of these characters will pop up again. It's like it's not like the first 3 phases where you were kind of surprised one of these characters will pop up. But now we've got so many projects with Disney in the movies, plus it's kind of hard to see where these characters pop up, because we haven't seen Shang-Chi for a while, like the Eternals and then like all that. So I don't know where we're gonna land Rainslayer besides the Avengers movies, like that. Could be.
I only wanted to make Eternals 2 if Chloe Zhao can if Chloe Zhao can come back and Jessica Gao can write the whole movie, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. It's only be done if it's that way. It's that simple. That's all it can be. Oh man, Chloe, I don't know what happened there. That was not good. It's a good thing that wasn't Andre's one of his buddies or whatever, in the time with dimension in that situation, because that did not look like a good experience for that person right there. Andres, would you not agree? I mean, come on now.
They could get another director for Eternals 3. Eternals 2. What one thing? There's 3.
You have never even talked about Eternals before. I just realized that. We've never even talked about the Eternals before, me and you. Another show. We will. We'll talk about it. We never had a conversation about that before ever, I don't think, have we?
No, we talked about it like here and there, but not like 1 hour discussion.
We never really talked about it before.
No. Like I did, one with my host, so if you guys can check that out.
Well, folks, just to put it out there, we are going to wrap up our Infinity Saga review series here, at some point soon. We're going to try to wrap it up by the end of the year. I don't know how we're going to do it. It might be something where I might try to use the Sunday show, something to kind of like loose, kind of maybe just use it as a way to kind of catch up a little bit, because I've been a little off my game and whatnot. We've been live a little bit late here on Mondays and some other nights and whatnot. I want to kind of just, maybe tighten things up a little bit. So we're going to try to squeeze that in and get that done by the end of the year. We feel like Andres Pop Culture Guy deserves a chance to crack in there and review Infinity War with us and review Endgame with us and whatnot. Andres, I think you deserve that chance, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it gets me to talk about the Phase 4 project soon. And yeah, I'll be happy to discuss Black Widow, Shang-Chi, later in the future after we finish the
That's right, folks. And if you just check out our playlist, we have our whole Infinity Saga review series that we, for the most part, attached to the Podcast of Champions over at scar.freeforums.net, who we love very much. And yes, I believe we still have 3 films left. We have Infinity War, Endgame, and I believe Spider-Man 3. I could be wrong.
Spider-Man Far From Home, the second.
Yep, or Spider-Man 2, I'm sorry. And then we'll be done. So we've got 3 left to do, and we're going to try to knock them out. And I'm going to talk to Andres about that after the show. But basically, folks, what did you think? Overall, we'd love to hear from the comment section. And Andres, they did a good job on that, right? As far as giving me a chance to drop a little page in there and link to like the reviews for all the the Infinity Saga movies and whatnot. Pretty good, buddy.
Yeah.
And either way, we'd love to hear from you folks. What do you think episode 3 Lamentis? How do you feel about it nowadays? Seeing it, have you watched it recently? How do you feel about it? Andres, did you watch Loki season 2? Have you watched Loki season 1 again up until now?
I didn't even watch episode 3, so no, I haven't. Like, in terms of, this is my second rewatch now with the reviews, so far good. I think they've been pretty awesome, and yeah, I think this third episode I actually enjoyed it more than the first time. So because
that's good to hear. You know what? Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead, please expound.
Yeah, I think it's because I get deviating the storyline and getting away from the plot narratives that we set up in the first 2 episodes. Like, but at the same time, this is like a transition to the actual main storyline that we're gonna get with Kane and what Sylvie is actually doing, because this episode confirmed that the TVA people are not, how you say it, are not robots. Like, they're actually variants of other planets, and they were tuned to become the TVA. So like that was the big twist. So like that was important when we get into the other episodes. They do more of that. So, especially the beginning where we see Sylvie using her enchantment on that.
Yes.
TVA. Like
yes.
That. So
definitely. That's Hunter C20. At the actress name is Sasha Lane. Hunter C20. I love that scene. It's great. It really is, isn't it? It's a really good. It's not a flashback, right?
No,
but you don't really know. It's her enchantment, but the way they handle it is really well done. I really like it. It's really interesting. How she's sort of like basically parrying off of her, like it's obvious that there's a time limit to how long she can pull off the enchanting before the person starts to actually, and of course she tries to go ahead and enchant Loki, right? We already saw her do that, and that doesn't play out. Now, overall, basically, folks, just so you know, for those of you out there who didn't watch Loki season 1, or maybe just need to be reminded, basically the essential premise of the episode 3 Lamentis is that Loki and Sylvie, after episode 2, when Sylvie essentially used one of the TVA devices to create a portal, right? And, jump to another, point in time, epileptic, point in time. She goes to the year 2077, to the planet Lamentis, which is about to be, destroyed, essentially, as Andre's already pointed out. And it's a very interesting story. It's very sort of internal, like very, again, it's very direct. They very much kind of sort of center things around, the pairing of Sylvie and Loki. And essentially, Loki kind of sort of figures out Sylvie's plans, what she wants to do, and what she's been doing. Right. And there's actually some laughs in there, aren't there, Andres? There's some there's some jokes going on. There's some good action. Right. Hey, Sylvie can throw down.
Yep. My favorite joke was them trying to trick the lady in the hot pod's house for energy for the tap, and then Sylvie tried to open the door forcibly, and then she got shot. And then Loki did his thing of tricking her that he's the husband, and then she just figured out very clearly that's not the husband, and that was just the illusion. And that was funny. And then Loki got shot, and that was funny. That was my funny scene. That was hilarious. And then what was the other one? That was kind of funny in the train, just Loki getting drunk and then singing.
Yeah, singing the song and everything, whatnot, everything, right? Yeah. And then the other one thing from Thor, the first Thor film.
Oh yes,
with Darcy and Jane Foster, everything, whatnot, right at the coffee shop.
Another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was a good payoff. That was a good callback for the first Thor movie. That was
good connective tissue, right? Good connective tissue, right? Because that's a very Loki, right? You know what I mean? Whatnot. So it's interesting. You know what I mean? It is interesting. And what did you think? I mean, I think that the Sophia Di Martino. Now, of course, I don't have my whole background behind me, folks, but I love Sophia Di Martino. She was my Monica Rambeau Award winner for the series. The Monica Rambeau Award, of course, is the one that we give out here at the MCU's Bleeding Edge to honor what we believe would be the best secondary character, sort of, in the series that breaks out, or maybe even steals the spotlight, or shines, or whatnot, right? So, honestly, Andres, looking back now, having not reviewed season 1 with us the first time, who would your Monica Rambeau Award have been?
That's a tough one.
I don't put you in the spot, brother. I'm sorry. Take a second if you want. Take a minute and think about it. You got Lenslayer. You've got Mobius. You've got Sylvie.
Yeah, it's a toss up too.
You got He Who Remains, who's only in one episode, essentially, right?
Yeah. Richard E. Grant. Yeah. Oh my god, it's tough because it's
Richard E. Grant. That's right, Richard E. Grant, Alligator Loki. Right?
Yeah. Oh god.
Alligator Loki was fucking dude. I got the T-shirt, bro. I wish I had that. I'll wear it this episode. I got the Alligator Loki T-shirt, bro. That shit is dope.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
He's awesome, bro. He was my all-star. Like, I wanted to give him. I think I actually tied it. I think it was Sylvie and fucking Alligator Loki.
Episode 5. Oh my god, that's funny. Oh my god, it's a tough one. I'll probably do more Morbius. I think he was my favorite character.
Okay, Mobius. All right.
Yeah.
But did you? Yeah. Now, honestly, folks, here on the Bleeding Edge Report, we're going to do something different here with our normal typical episodical review style formula. We want to kind of loosen things up, me and Andre. So at that point, we don't mind jumping around a little bit and kind of contrasting things and kind of talking about a little content creation, or looking back in the past or in the future, kind of projecting forward. Andres, looking back, episode 3, highlighting Sylvie, her dynamic with Loki. Now, the writer's strike being what it is, the actor's strike being what it is, I believe that it will get dealt with, and things will go back to business. Because at the end of the day, people need to make money. to pay their bills, right, and live their lives
Mhm.
and not everything. So at some point, something has to give, right? Like people have to
We'll
go
see.
forward.
Yeah.
We'll know, we'll see what happens, right? But I mean, that's the way life works. Like, the economy's not good to begin with, from what I understand. So I mean, like holding out for money right now isn't the best time to be doing it. It's pretty simple. We'll see how far it goes, but either way, what do you think? What's her future? What is Sylvie's future? I mean, if say we get Loki season 3, if that's a given, if that happens, all right, which I believe they already have it written, and it'll be just a matter of just producing it. I believe it's already probably done. They've already have it set. Probably. Well, I don't know though. Who knows? There would be fine details probably they want to add. What do you think? Hypothetically, if season 3 was locked in, where would Sylvie still have a role in the MCU? Or if season 2 is the end, does she have a place in the MCU? Is there a spot for her, and even is a room?
Yeah, I mean, because the fact that she, killed Kang in season 1, she probably wants to, properly kill him, for real, to end this like loop, which makes a lot of sense. So I
Remember
think,
though, she only wanted to kill the TVA, the actual like leaders of the TVA. She
yeah,
killed He Who
but,
Remains,
yeah,
and
but
he's really not Kang. He's
yeah,
a
but
very good king.
yeah, but then she realized that, sort of like Drax in the first Guardians film, where he realized it wasn't Rowan, it was Thanos that killed his family, which didn't get pay off at all in the Infinity Saga. It just brought up early. It was kind of brought up interesting, intuitively in the Infinity War movie. I think that Sylvia will be the Drax of this multiverse saga, where she realized that Who Remains wasn't the person she had to kill. It was really the Kane, or the Council of Kane, whatever we're gonna get Kane, the new Two Avengers movie. So I think that will be her whole arc, and then she will, like, if she, like, because that's something she wants. Is like she wants a free will of her.
Hold on a minute,
future,
though. Let me ask you a question, though. You do understand, though, realize, though, Andres, that she'd have no reason to have any beef with like the original Kang, or for instance, or like any of the Kang, the Council of Kangs, because at the end of the day, it was actually, as we reveal, it's revealed in Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, it's actually He Who Remains who created the TVA, right? In his own, he sort of created his own, wall almost, right? His own timeline, right? That separated him from the rest of the Kangs. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? His own little pocket.
Yeah,
right?
I know that, but the thing is, she no longer has a purpose. That's the thing. She doesn't have her glorious purpose. So what's the next thing for her to do as a Loki? And it's like, go after the next variant of Kane's. So the fact that she's gonna find out there's another version of this person, she wants to kill her. So just remember, she hasn't had like a proper life like Loki has. So that is going to be the next thing she will do. And so she's going to be more.
Would you? I mean, honestly, would you say that without question, probably maybe that she actually, her fight scenes, her hand-to-hand combat skills are better than Loki's.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's more a fighter than Loki is. I mean, Loki's more the trickster or the manipulator of the fights. He's the one that causes the fights, and then Sylvie is more fire. I mean, for good reasons. I mean, she has to hide him from the TVA. So.
Well, that hotel scene, or that hallway scene, episode 2, right? You know what I'm talking about, the TVA?
Yeah, it's in this episode.
Was it this episode, right in the beginning?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. That is great. That is a great, well shot, like hallway scene, right? Honestly, that is a good, and that's something that I should try to rip too and whatnot, and everything, because that's a really good scene. I love that. Did you enjoy that? I thought that really was well done.
Yeah, I mean, they could make it longer. That it was like very too short. So it was good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that they were trying to. Don't you agree that they were trying to kind of? I don't think they wanted to overdo it with the fighting, and that sort of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like she was gonna fight Loki anyway, so it was gonna be like like that was more important than like her like fighting those TVA soldiers or whatnot. So,
No, and folks, just to remind you, of episode 3, basically, what ends up happening in Lamentis is that they travel, and essentially try to try to get off Lamentis before the apocalyptic event that's going to occur to destroy it. We end up essentially at a point where throughout the episode, the two Loki, the variants sort of like basically feel each other out. And essentially at that point, Loki, they sort of end up almost connecting. Or I remember feeling like Loki almost felt like a connection with her in some way. And he even saves her life, doesn't he? Kind of at one point there towards the end of the episode when that building falls on her.
yeah, sort of. It doesn't start develop in the next episode. I feel like because episode 3 is kind of like in the verge, but it's really the next episode where the relationship starts to more blossom. So,
would you say it's romantic by nature at all?
Not in this. Well, it seems like
not at this point. I mean, overall in the series,
like, oh yeah, from this episode to episode 6, yes.
Yes,
like, definitely. Yeah,
I'd agree. I folks, yes, and please jump in the comment section and let us know what you think. If you agree, disagree, that's fine. But I think episode 3, and I felt like it did. I mean, personally, I noticed it that during Lamentis, that sort of right towards the end there, when they have that scene where they sit together, right, and sort of like towards the third quarter of the episode, they have that moment where they kind of talk. You could kind of there's just a look that basically. I guess Tom Hiddleston as Loki projects towards her, right? I almost, you can see like an emotion there, like there. And, essentially, as we, head into episode 4, Andres, remind me, how did they end up basically tying up episode 3? How did that, I forget now, the one part I can't seem to remember is how did they end up off Lamentis?
Well, when we see episode 4 next week, they do they kind of start to kind of kiss, and that's when they cause
that's right.
a time, like a time fraction, and that's where the TVA will find them when they see the red line sparking that something's wrong. So that's how they found out that they're in that planet.
That's right. I remember now. No, and you're right. They do almost kiss, which is obviously. I mean, so obviously at that point, like it's pretty obvious that there's some kind of romantic tension there. What would you say would be, I guess, the highlights of the episode for you?
That's kind of tough. Besides, I think Loki talking about how his mom inspired him to do the magic, because I think that was kind of cool. Like him talking about his mom it's always sweet to hear that. So like the mom was always the mom was always supportive of Loki and protecting him from day one. So it was good to hear more information about Frigga, from the Thor movies, that she always loved Loki as a child. So, and it was good and it was good that she aspired him to do, magic and be a chant and all that. So that was cool. So that was my favorite moment in the trailer.
I would agree. I would agree 100%, most definitely. And I actually have sort of a synopsis or whatnot, if you want to say, or storyline recap or whatnot from Collider. That I'm going to play real quick and whatnot, so we can just kind of get as we wrap this up, just kind of just dig deep into episode 3, Lamentis, whatnot, everything. Look at this kind of recap deal here. If I can get rid of this ad, and essentially, add a little bit more detail, in terms of how episode 3 plays out from a final standpoint, from an overall standpoint. What did you think, Andres? Again, Sophia Di Martino, was she somebody that in episode 3, if you could look back or whatnot, just episode 3 maybe, you watched this the first time, did you really were you taken by her as an actress? Did you had you seen any of her stuff before?
No, this is the first time I saw her anything. I think this was her big break, Because see, I wish I saw this movie. She was in Danny Boyle's film Yesterday, that with BRIO movie that came out in 2019, where the guy, like, apparently the whole world forgot that BRIOs were a thing, and so he took the opportunity to make the BRIOs into his own music. It's a weird, like almost like Groundhog Day kind of movie. Check it out. That's where you see Sophie D. Martia in the film. So she plays a friend in his group. So, but that's
I'll
like
pull up her IMDb.
Yeah, it's the only place I see her. But she's in other like British stuff, and like TV stuff and that I haven't heard. But like they're all good. The British TV shows, they're really awesome. So,
I've got her here. I'll pull up right now.
Yeah,
We can take a look at her whole like videography and whatnot and everything. Let's take a look. We pulled this up before, I believe, and we've seen this before. But basically, this is what we got on Google. This is the IMDb. Hold on one second. All right, so what do we got? Movies and TV shows. Okay. Loki, Flowers, Marvel Studios Assembled, Yesterday, as you explained, in 2019, Sweetheart, Endo. Yeah, I never heard a lot of this stuff.
yeah. I think Flowers is another big one. So
how is she in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
I have no clue. I think that's just like related things to the
hell?
Marvel. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird web search. Like they always put something connected to the TV shows and movies, whatnot.
Well, let me be a little bit more fair with my question when I say, give me your highlights for the episode. Sort of like it's so I can give you a little more context, and that way it's not such a tough decision. And that's why I wanted to pull up the Slider thing. I love this picture right here of the Google, Mabath Ra, because she is right in there when Sophie DiMartino's, Sylvie actually does infiltrate the TVA.
Yeah.
We get that hall scene where that's a great picture, it really is. I love that picture. Where she takes on the Minutemen and everything and whatnot and all that. We get like the great fight scene, and then we get, basically Ravonna trying to prune Loki, swiping the temp pad off Sylvie and transporting them, to Lamentis, where as Andres basically explained, some interesting and we talked about some funny, interesting humor shit that happens. Some bonding experiences, and they, as it says right here, Loki calls for a truce. The two of them are set off to search for a power source so they can get them from the hell out of the Dodge, because the temp pad is also out of power. As Andres mentioned earlier, whatnot, when the encounter with the their first people they ran into, whatever, the Lamentis, they basically end up in a situation where some tension builds up. As sort of like the Lamentis is going to essentially be disintegrated, and at that point, on top of that, there really isn't much going on, as secondary story. But they come up with a plan. They board the train, and we do get some pretty good action. Remember, Andres, there is that little bit of action scene too, right on the train.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
So you brought up a favorite moment. Like the one single track towards the end of the episode is probably the best shot of the favorite moment of this episode, when they're like looking through the town to get into the ship, and then before it get exploded, like that's a really great shot because they shot it in one sequence. So that was like a really cool moment in this episode.
I think you should wear that hat. I think you should wear that hat, Andres, on your Tinder dating profile picture. What do you think?
No. Next, mark the spot.
Anyway. Shut up. Come on. You would rock that shit.
Anyway, I'll just wear President Loki. That'll be a good dress. The good clothing.
So anyways, no, you're right, and there are some beautiful shots. There are, Lamentis
Yeah.
is in an eerie way. Lamentis is kind of pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's funny. This article brought up a Snowpiercer. So
Yeah.
I think the one complaint you can say about this episode, but it was way too preachy about the class and all that was going on. Like, why do we need that in this show? Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like that. Oh, that was so unnecessary for like this episode. Like that's my thing. It's like it was. Like, I feel like I say it was a great sci-fi adventure, but like it has a lot of sci-fi tropes that you see in like Star Trek or like any like sci-fi show if you've seen them. Like you know, dystopian planet, you know, with the classes and all that. And it's like, why are you doing this in this episode where we're doing something else, you know?
No, I hear what you're saying, most definitely. And, you know, so basically, as it explains right there, you know, Loki still arrived at the launch of the Ark. But, you know, everything's chaos and everything's falling apart and everything, you know, as it's the inevitable, you know, the end of Lamentis. They end up in a, you know, essentially, you know, issue where, as in the episode, there is a glimmer of hope. And it's, you know, the fact there are 3 more episodes left of the season, as it says right in Collider. So essentially, is Andres, what would you say? This is kind of a weird question for you. I've never asked this before, but since we're doing a rewatch, I've never done this before either. If you had to say what you would have rated this, did you review this at all on any of your channels, whatever, when this came out?
Yeah. I remember these were my first my first regular podcast. So
okay.
Yeah, I didn't do the ratings for these like shows. So it was always like we like it or not. We like it less than the previous episode. So that's how we did it. We never did rating because like you know it was like why do like a 4 out of 5 or like you know the 10 thing we do here in this channel. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give Lamentis, I think, probably easily. Again, at the end, when we get done reviewing and rewatching this season 1, folks, of Loki, and we get, you know, in Loki season 2, in the 6th episode, the finale, I'll go back and I'll look up all of the actual ratings I dropped for these episodes. But I'm going to start off with this one giving this one a 10 for 10, and I'm going to bet $20 right now. To anybody out there in the comment section out right now that I'm calling it right now. If you get in here and you go ahead and you hook it up and you tell me I'm wrong right now in the next like 24 hours, I'll bet you $20. I call this a 10. Andres, what do you give this episode, sir?
I'll give it 8 out of 10. It's a good episode. Like at least it's a good filler episode, but I think they could, you know, get rid of some certain things, but overall it's a well-made episode that's still important in the show, so it's not a big deal.
Most definitely. And Andres, at that point, let's wrap this up. Why don't we go ahead and pull you up and get you on to your plugs, whatnot, and everything, so you can tell what you have. I just saw, I think maybe 2 hours ago, or an hour and a half ago, that you had dropped something or uploaded something.
Yeah, it's another comic read, a 5-part miniseries I'm posting. So this is part 3 of the X-Men storyline.
Now, would you like me to pull up your MCU DCU channel as well, sir?
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
No problem, sir.
Yeah.
What would you like to start off here?
I'll start with the first channel, the pop culture guy.
Oh, 713 video. Excuse me, 800 subscribers, my friend. Way to break the 800 mark again. Congratulations. 200 away from 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. I'm pulling you up right now. I apologize. I forgot Loki was even on there. There you go, folks. TrueKnowledge at his best. I'm just a pop culture guy, of course. Has been wonderful to us here at the MCU's Bleeding Edge. He has been killing it with us on all our DC animated film reviews, which we're going to be doing again, hopefully soon. You know, as we pull him up real quick, I just want to mention that he'll be on with us tomorrow night to do Ahsoka episode 5 at 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:35 p.m. Pacific. Well, we're gonna have a great panel. And Andres, again, thank you, sir. We appreciate you at the MCU's Bleeding Edge. You're a great man, good friend. And like I said, now that I've firmly established my true knowledge ability here, have at it.
Oh yeah. Give me a second. I have to sneeze.
Oh, that happened.
Ugh.
God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ugh. My allergies. Ugh.
That's okay, bro. If you want to jump in my boxing tank later, you just let me know. I'll fly you down.
I'll take the chronic. Was it the chronic freeze from the Empire Strikes Back? So
Well,
over that.
The only way that you can only use my boxing tank if you give me currency from the time count dimension from like whichever universe you hang out with Frank Dukes.
It's very funny. Well, anyway, let me keep my face off screen because my allergies are pretty bad, so I want to make sure that you don't see me sneezing too much. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining me today. I appreciate your guys' support and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys' support of the MCU Bleeding Edge community. Yes, as Jeff brought up, I'm up to 806 subscribers. So recently, I posted today another part 3 of the X-Men Skirmish storyline, and then yesterday I posted a Lois and Clark, my top 8 favorite villains from that show, and then of course I did a Bane tribute for Tom Hardy because his birthday was on the 15th, and I posted it on the 16th because it was Batman Day on Saturday, so that was good. So expect tomorrow another latest and retrospective review, and this is on Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the 4th installment on the Tom Cruise spy thriller. So yeah, and now you can go to DC Plus Talk.
Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, so thank you guys for your support. Just continue subscribing and like that button as well.
All right,
and sorry about my allergies, folks.
You're fine. That happens. Obviously, that happens, brother. You're fine.
Yeah.
All right. DC Marvel Plus Talk.
Yeah. Go to channels. It'll be right there.
I'll try. I subscribed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can. See.
I got it. DC Marvel Plus Talk. There we go. I got it pulled up. Thank you, StreamYard. We appreciate you. There we go. DC Marvel Plus Talk.
Awesome. So, yeah, so this is my secondary channel. I usually post
Captain America, baby.
Yep. So I always post one post per day. So not every day like the first channel. So this is Moment Plus Talk. I'm up to 426 subscribers. So yeah, yesterday I posted a Captain America Steve Rogers tribute because this year is the 60th anniversary for the Avengers. Tomorrow I'll post a expert podcast on Secret Invasion episode 3 and 4 tomorrow, and yeah, that's it. And hopefully Friday I will post my top 10 favorite Avengers characters and the lineup. So check that out in comics in general. So. Yeah,
Andres, why didn't you invite me to come over and do anything with that? I would have jumped on that, bro.
Yeah. Let me see how I'm doing with my job, and then I think if you're up for that, then we can do that next week. So make it easier.
And yes, folks, let's all congratulate Andres on his new job. Andres, congratulations on you, brother. Like
Yep.
I'm really happy for you, folks. Andres is a great guy. He's a good friend. We at the MCU's Bleeding Edge support the hell out of Andres. He's been nothing but a humbled, very consistent, very reliable contributor for us and whatnot and everything. Andres, we really appreciate you, brother.
No. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're a good friend. You know, and honestly, folks, I'll tell you right now, I had to at least say something here at some point, whatnot, that's fucking typically bleeding edge style. So I'll put it out there right now. I would not only give Sylvie the Mocker Bowl Award and Elliot Loki the Mocker Bowl Award, I do a threesome with them. Just to be clear. That's how much I like Elliot Loki and Sylvie. I would, you know, I'd be down to do it. What do you think, Andre?
I don't know. I mean, you can do it, I guess. Say.
I should probably take that one out, huh?
Maybe.
All right, folks. Listen, like I said, check us out. I already told you about what we're doing on Wednesday night. It's Soak episode 5. I've heard it's a fire episode. This Friday, we're doing Mallrats. We're reviewing that. Andres, are you doing that with us?
No. I cannot.
All right, there you go. Cyber and I are doing Mallrats. The weekend after that, on Saturday, we actually have Coming to America. William Geek on the podcast will be over. I know you're coming on that one, right, Andres?
Yeah, I did promise that. So yeah,
that's right. Well, I switched. Did I let you know that I switched it over to Saturday?
No, this is my first time hearing this.
Okay. I apologize. No, I'm going. Actually, folks, I'm going out to see Shinedown with Mark Rutledge from Rutledge Broadcasting Network, and his daughter and my daughter are going to go. And thank you to Isabella, my daughter, right, for helping, you know, making the thumbnail for the show and everything, whatnot, and everything. We appreciate you, Isabella. You did a great job. And Andre, sir, good night, sir. I'll see you in the studio in just a moment. Whatnot, we'll say good night properly. So good night to you, folks. Andre, any last words?
Nope. Thank you. Hopefully we have a good day. Have a good night.
やめろどうだな助けに来た男に殺される気分は鉄十字団に恨みを持つ麻薬刑事さ